Hello YouTube, I'm Jess Harte, and there has been this great video tag going around the internet where YouTubers tell their story through drawing, so I thought I would share my story with you. I guess these drawings aren't going to be as good as what you guys normally see from me, but they're quick little doodles anyway. I guess we should start off with my birth. I was born in Newmarket, Ontario, Canada. Yes, I am Canadian. I weighed 7 pounds 11 ounces and had a full head of spiky red hair. I still have the red hair today, but it's not nearly as red or spiky. It seems to be getting more blonde as the years go by, actually. I was born in this great little family that included my mom Rita and my dad Leendert. His name is hard to pronounce for most people, so he goes by Larry. I've been told that my parents never wanted children, but then one day they decided that if they didn't have children, they may grow old and be grumpy individuals. So they tried once and wham bam thank you ma'am, I was conceived. Gross. I don't really remember much of the early years, but I do remember when my brother Jason was born. I was only 2, so at first I thought he was interesting, I guess, but it wasn't long before I became really jealous of him. He got all the attention and got to drink from bottles, which I was recently upgraded to sippy cups and desperately wanted to go back in time. Once I remember crying so hard because of this that I threw up purple. I have no idea how the purple vomit occurred, but nonetheless, this is a memory I have always had. I grew to accept my brother's existence and became close to him. However, we never really had that annoying stage where we both hated each other. We seem to be going through that stage now, so I hope that one day we can be close again. Not long after my brother was born, I met a girl named Devin at our local park. We became best friends and spent almost all of our time together. Even our parents became good friends. Fast forwarding a couple years, my love for the arts was already showing. My mom bought me tons of coloring books and crayons, and I just remember getting lost in them for hours. I also remember hiding under our wooden coffee table with my crayons and drawing on the bottom of it. I know I was a rebel. I was born left-handed, but my mom thought that our world is typically designed for right-handed individuals, and therefore made me switch hands. I remember this being a little confusing at the time, but I eventually adapted. Even today there are things I naturally do left, like holding a hockey stick or a baseball bat. She entered me into a whole bunch of drawing competitions, and I won quite a few of them. This resulted in us winning tons of Crayola packages. I guess you could say that helped me grow as a little artist. I've moved a lot during my life. Most of the time it was due to my mom or dad moving job locations. We moved to a town called Markham when I was 4. When I was entering kindergarten, my parents decided to enroll my brother and I into an advanced school. You had to apply to get in, and it was based on testing. Somehow I tested through the roof and was accepted. However, when I got there, I would come home crying every day because they were trying to teach 4-year-olds advanced multiplication and division. Even to this day, math is definitely not a strength of mine, so you can imagine how stupid that made me feel. Oh, and my brother punched out a little Asian kid in his daycare for taking his toy train, so my parents decided that maybe that type of school wasn't the best fit for us. We then got enrolled into a public school that I remember loving. I had great teachers and I actually met some new friends. I went to this school till the end of grade 2. We then moved back to my hometown of Newmarket, and I was happy because I lived closer to Devon again. I remember being quite the tomboy, and I mostly had male friends. Wow, that was a long time ago. Most of the boys liked me because I would play soccer with them at recess. I had major problems with getting along with girls at my school. This is not a problem now, but I guess it was then. They all had a problem with the boys taking a liking to me and not them, but I didn't seem to care. One boy even proposed to me with a diamond ring, necklace, and earrings that I still have today. Yes, they were real, surprisingly. Unfortunately, I was blunt and told him no, but I asked if we could still be good friends. We were only 8, so I'm guessing I either didn't like him or knew we were far too young to go down that road. 1 month into grade 5, we moved to Oakville, and my mom and dad split up for the second time. The first time I was too young to know what was going on, but this time it was quite clear what was happening. I moved an hour away with my mom and brother and saw my dad once a week and every other weekend. It was really hard on my brother and I. A few years later, my mom and dad got back together again. I had finally gotten used to my new school and had made some great friends. I felt like I was on top of the world, but then my world came crashing down when my mom got diagnosed with skin cancer. She fought really hard, and there was a point that we thought that she was getting better. I mean, if you knew my mom, she was the most stubborn, hardworking woman, so if anyone was gonna beat it, it was her. Unfortunately, things took a turn for the worse when the cancer spread to her brain. She was in and out of the hospital due to seizures, and the last incident took away her speech. My mom was a very talented individual. Her speaking was her life, and so we could all tell that this was very frustrating for her. There were things she wanted to say and just couldn't. Not long after, she passed away. It was probably the hardest thing I had ever had to go through in my life. What got me through was thinking about how she wanted me to live my life, and that she wanted me to be happy and successful. So I pushed forward, and still to this day I strive to be half the woman she was. I love you, Mom. For the most part, everyone in my life was very supportive and loving during this time. I was always fairly popular in school, but one day a boy decided to spread a rumor about me killing my mom. This was a very hard time for me. No one wanted to go near me because they thought I would either hurt them or kill them. Thankfully, I had a few really close friends that comforted me and told others off, but nonetheless, it made a horrible situation harder. Eventually, that blew over, and secondary school was fast approaching. Entering high school was also very difficult for me. I was always an A student, and I couldn't understand why everything was like 10 times harder, or so it felt like it, especially math and science. But like everything else, I got the hang of it. Entering into high school was also difficult for me because my dad had met a woman. At first the idea was really hard, especially on my brother, but eventually we came to the understanding that all we wanted for my dad was to be happy. Unfortunately, this woman was the opposite of happiness. She came across as this innocent little thing at the beginning, but when my dad and her decided to both sell their houses and move into a new build together, that's when everything went downhill. She accused me of doing horrible things that I didn't do, and eventually my dad couldn't take her talking down to me and saying hurtful things, so we decided to leave. The next 4 months after that were a nightmare, trying to sell our gigantic heartless house. The witch, as I call her, wouldn't negotiate on the price, so we decided to take a fraction of what the house was worth to just get away from her and to move on with our lives. At that point, we could not take living in the same house with her any longer, so we had no problem doing what we did. Leaving her wasn't the hard part. Her daughter had 2 children that we helped look after, and even to this day, I miss them very much. On a brighter note, we moved into a cute little townhouse that was right by our current high school. I was in and out of relationships in high school until I met the love of my life. We are still together today and are hoping to get married someday. After graduating high school, I didn't know what to do with my life, so I decided to stay back a year. Unfortunately, I felt so out of place I dropped out the second day of school, so yes, I am technically a high school dropout, but not really. While taking a year off, I started making YouTube videos talking about my iPhone. I was obsessed with iPhone cases and headphones, and I still am. Surprisingly, I grew an audience I did not expect to gain, so I kept making 1 or 2 every now and then. It was a great outlet for me. During this time, I continued working part-time at a grocery store as a bakery clerk to save up some money for school. Sticking to my plan of going to school, I applied for a fundamental arts program that later led me into applying to a Bachelor of Illustration degree program. I prepared a portfolio, and to my surprise, I actually got in. Only 100 students out of the regular 4,000 to 7,000 applicants get in annually, so you can imagine how shocked I was that I did. I actually got in with a conditional offer. The condition was that I passed everything in my Art Fundamentals program. Apparently, though, I thought I had taken 6 university-level courses in high school. One of them didn't count, so my not knowing 100% what I wanted to do with my life saved my butt. If I wasn't attending college at the time, I would have been denied acceptance. Things happen for a reason, I guess. In my first year of illustration, issues arose at work. My boss threatened my job, and it got to the point that my hands would shake when I was near her. It was causing so much unneeded stress that I left my job of 5 years. Right after, I set my goal on getting a YouTube partner, and I did it in a time span of 2 months. It is 3 years later, and I'm loving my program. My knowledge and skill level has rapidly increased, and continues to with every day. YouTube has become a huge part of my life, and though I am not 100% where I want to be, I'm enjoying every second getting there. Hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like and share. Every like and share goes a really long way in helping me grow my channel. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time guys, toodles!